to civil wars. The very words evoke images of chaos and bloodshed. Throughout history, nations seemingly united have been torn apart by internal conflicts. These are not wars of conquest, but struggles for the very soul of a nation, fueled by deep-seated grievances and ideological divides. The English Civil War, for example, saw parliamentarians clash with royalists over the future direction of England in the 17th century. Such conflicts leave lasting scars on the social fabric, often taking generations to heal fully. While the UK might seem immune to such internal strife, history teaches us that no nation is entirely immune to the possibility of civil war. The factors that lead to such conflicts are complex and varied, but understanding them is crucial to preventing their recurrence. It is through examining these potential fault lines, however remote they may seem, that we can better appreciate the fragility of peace and the importance of safeguarding our shared values. What could drive a wedge so deep within British society as to ignite the flames of civil war? One potential flashpoint is the ever-widening gap between rich and poor. Economic inequality, coupled with a sense of political disenfranchisement, can breed resentment and unrest. Imagine a scenario where a major economic crisis cripples the UK, leaving millions unemployed and struggling to survive. Adding fuel to the fire could be the rise of extremist ideologies on both ends of the political spectrum. History is replete with examples of charismatic leaders exploiting societal anxieties to sow division and incite violence. In our interconnected world, fueled by social media, the rapid spread of misinformation and propaganda could further polarize public opinion, creating an environment ripe for conflict. Furthermore, the UK is not a monolithic entity. Regional identities, particularly in Scotland and Northern Ireland, remain strong. A resurgence of separatist sentiment, exacerbated by perceived economic or political injustices, could further destabilize the Union. The combustible mix of social, economic and political grievances, if left unchecked, could push the UK towards the brink. Let us consider for a moment the unthinkable. A full-blown civil war erupting in the UK. The very fabric of British society would unravel as families and communities are torn apart by allegiances. Major cities, once symbols of progress and prosperity, could become battlegrounds. Imagine London, its iconic skyline marred by smoke and fire as rival factions clash for control of the capital. Control of critical infrastructure such as power grids, communication networks and transportation hubs would be fiercely contested. Cyber warfare, a new dimension to modern conflict, could cripple essential services, sowing chaos and panic amongst the civilian population. The impact on the economy would be catastrophic, with businesses collapsing and international trade grinding to a halt. With the armed forces split in their loyalties, the conflict could descend into a bloody stalemate. Neighbor would turn against neighbor, and the rule of law would crumble as violence becomes the norm. The very values that underpin British society, tolerance, democracy, and the peaceful resolution of differences would be trampled underfoot in the maelstrom. Even if a decisive victory were achieved by one side, the scars of civil war would linger for generations. The social fabric, irrevocably torn, would be painstakingly slow to mend. The psychological toll on the populace, having endured years of violence and deprivation, would be immeasurable. Trust, once broken, is not easily rebuilt. The task of rebuilding the nation would be Herculean. The physical infrastructure would need to be reconstructed from the ground up. The economy, shattered by years of conflict, would require massive investment and reform to recover. Perhaps most daunting of all would be the challenge of reconciliation. The international community would play a crucial role in providing humanitarian aid and supporting the rebuilding process. However, the UK's standing on the world stage would be severely diminished. The country that once prided itself on its stability and democratic values would become a cautionary tale, a reminder of the fragility of peace and the devastating consequences of internal strife.